Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for today's edition of HR Mentorship Debate. Actually, it's the inaugural edition, and I want to assure all of us that it's going to be exciting, it's going to be fun, it's going to be engaging. Let me put it out there that what we are trying to do is just to stimulate conversations. At the end of the day, there's no right or wrong perspective, but we want to encourage conversations that can unlock our minds, get us to see things from different perspectives. Ladies and gentlemen, please feel free as the debate is underway to cheer your team. If they say something you like, feel free to applause, clap, drop emojis, and so on and so forth. Let me also say that initially, the contestants volunteered to speak, and we put them together in teams ourselves based on whether they are for the motion or against the motion. Let me also quickly add there, in case there will be any line manager out there who will be watching this, this is just a debate. Don't take anything from this debate personal. We are just having intellectual fun. It's important I put that down before somebody say, oh, I'm your line manager, I'm a woman, so you are against me, or I'm your line manager, I'm a man, you're against me. No, that is not the intent. All right. And that's why I'm documenting that I'm saying it so that you can use this if the situation warrants. I also like to celebrate our judges and evaluators today. We have 4 judges. In no particular order, I'd like to celebrate Victor Adebayo, who is a seasoned HR leader. I also like to celebrate Kumbi Adeoti, another seasoned HR leader. Of course, I would like to celebrate Pamela Elekachi, who is also a senior HR leader. Last but not the least, I would like to celebrate Ezine Obiora, who is also a seasoned HR leader. Thank you so much for volunteering to be judges here. Impartial judges. Okay, I haven't celebrated the judges. I also like to celebrate all the contestants. For this edition, we have 12 people, 6 on one side and 6 on the other side. So the motion is women are better leaders than men. So we have a team that is for the motion, and we have another team that is against the motion. Let me quickly provide the general guidelines. So each team will have 4 or 5 speakers, okay, per group to speak for, and they will speak alternatively. So for example, if the first speaker is from the team supporting the motion, the next speaker will be from the opposite team. And we'll keep alternating that way. Note, the time is a range, 3 to 5 minutes. So you can choose to speak for 3 minutes, it's okay. But you can't choose to speak for less than 3 minutes. And you can speak as much as 5 minutes, but you can't speak above 5 minutes. I'm saying this so that somebody does not think one group is speaking longer or shorter. It's a range, and as long as they are within that range, that is sufficient. So after the first round, we have 4 or 5 speakers per team who speak to support their motion. Excuse me. There will now be another round where 2 to 3 members will do a rebuttal. So the first session, we are speaking for in support of your motion. The second session, we are now doing a rebuttal, trying to counter what the other team has said. Note, 2 to 3 team members will do this. All right. And then we'll now take a closing round. In this closing round, 1 person per team, of course, will have 2 to 3 minutes to close the argument, counter any rebuttal if they so desire, or add any new points. I hope in general and in principle, we understand this context. Also, let me also say that while the official price for the best team is 50,000 naira, more prize money has come in. Okay, thanks to some of our leaders. So they'll be getting way more than 50,000 naira. I mean, way more. For those of you who think, oh, I'll have contested, but the prize money is not significant. No. Ladies and gentlemen, let the contest begin. I would like to call on the first theme, and the first theme is supporting the motion, women are better than men. Can the representative of the first team please step forward? Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Good day, Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers, co-debaters, and esteemed HR professionals and excellent professionals on the call. My name is Jeremiah Friday Jessica, and I'm here for the motion, representing the team for the motion, alongside my excellent team. And I will be starting with the first point, talking about emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is a very core skill, is a very critical skill required in HR leadership. And that's because we have employees coming with different emotions, right? Different challenges, different issues. You know, an HR professional serves as also a counselor and a psychologist in the work environment. And an HR leader who doesn't have a strong competence in emotional intelligence will not be able to handle all of these emotions together and be able to, you know, help them navigate their ways through to ensure workplace harmony. All right, now, a research by Conferry involving about 55,000 professionals across 90 countries in the world revealed clearly that female professionals, right, consistently outperform male professionals in 11 out of 12 competencies. 11 out of 12 competencies. And one of these competencies that the female gender outperform the male is emotional intelligence. Now, employees feel more comfortable, more productive, and engaged when they feel heard. When they are heard, when they are respected, and when they are emotionally supported, because they come with different emotions. A high degree of emotional intelligence is expected of any leader at all. And another statistics by Gallup.com, you can choose to check that out right now, shows that managers with strong people-centered management strategies or styles are able to help build a stronger and more formidable team. And going by the statistics that we have from Conferry.com, that female HRs, female HRs score 11 out of 12 competencies above the male. This reveals that female gender, the female HR professionals, will consistently be able to build stronger and more formidable HR teams. Now, we also have another statistics going by afdb.org. You can decide to check that out. And that reveals that, you know, when employees are engaged, when they are, you know, reached out to, communicated, when you reach out to their inner being, you are able to get them to work in line with the organizational culture. You're able to get them to be more productive. You're able to get them to more engaged, more and stay more in the organization. Now, these statistics are not just some random, they are well proven, and we can check them out right now as I speak on Google and on any other site. These statistics are proven and have shown that the female gender, as far as this debate is concerned, has the stronger emotional intelligence in terms of HR roles, in terms of performing HR duties. And with this, I would like to say that employees who demonstrate stronger, or HR leaders who demonstrate stronger emotional intelligence, stand a chance to bring a stronger team in the workplace. They stand a chance, they have the skills to build a more engaged worker team. To bring about a more productive work environment. And with this, I would like to strongly tender my submission that going by the statistics, going by the different references that I've made, they've started from the Conferry down to the Gallup.com and to the AFDB.org. They've consistently shown that a female HR professional consistently outperform the male HR professionals in terms of emotional intelligence as a competency that is critically required in today's modern HR practices and HR leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for staying within time. Contestants, you are responsible for staying within time, and it's part of what we are evaluating. Thank you. At this intersection, I would like to call the representative of the team that is against the motion. Please, kindly step forward.
Good evening, convener. Good evening, panel of judges. Good evening, coordinators, my fellow co-debaters, my esteemed HR professionals. My name is Comfort Umo. I'm here alongside my colleagues to debunk the notion that women make better HR leaders than men. Since its establishment in 1968, the foremost HR governing institution in Nigeria, CIPM, has never had any female president. Let that sink in. I'm certain that if women were better HR leaders, this wouldn't be the case. Now, the assertion that women are inherently better leaders in the human resource practice is an example of a gender stereotype. And when it comes to logical and psychological terms, this is tied to an essentialist fallacy and a false equivalence combined with overgeneralization. Ladies and gentlemen, the best HR leaders are not the best because of some physiological endowment or some socially assigned innate competency. They are the best because they possess competencies that have been honed over the years through discipline, dedication, decisiveness. Competencies such as emotional intelligence, effective communication, negotiation, conflict management, business and financial acumen, as well as a plethora of other HR competencies, cannot be biologically endowed. And research has proven this time and time again, as my colleagues are going to corroborate shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, one skill an effective HR leader must possess is self-awareness and the ability to recognize personal biases. And for a profession that stands to erase workplace biases, especially gender-related ones, this assertion by our esteemed opponents begs the question. Now, the term better as used in today's debate, I believe, should only be used to denote possession of superior professional competencies and a vast knowledge base of HR theory and practice, not some fringe or unsubstantiated assertion based on stereotypical rhetorics and misinformation. The moment we begin to assign leadership superiority based on biology, we negate the very foundation of the human resource profession. Dear esteemed colleagues, I am here today to remind you that leadership effectiveness is not determined by whether one is male or female or something in between, but by the ability to lead effectively, interpret and drive organizational goals, and promote positive workplace culture in view of financial bottom lines. Thank you, and over from me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Comfort Umo, for your submission. At this intersection, it's very okay to do a virtual round of applause for the two speakers so far. So far, we have had Jessica and we have also had Comfort. Now we'll switch to the other side. Please, can the next representative of the team supporting the motion that women are better than men kindly step forward? We are waiting patiently. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe this is part of the plan. Sometimes people use silence to debate. It's also a feedback. Jessica, who is coming next? Do you want to call the person out?
Yes, the next person is coming up.
Good evening. Sorry, my network kicked me out. I just logged back in. I was trying to unmute.
Okay, you're welcome.
Good evening, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, my co-debaters, my fellow HR professionals, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eta Kadebura, and I'm here today to support the motion that says women are better HR leaders than men. Panel of judges, I'd like to let you know that a company's culture is not defined by the beautiful walls of its offices or the perks on their websites or on their job ads. A company's culture is defined by how safe, valuable, and inspired an employee feels when they show up at work. And when it comes to creating this environment, women are leading the charge. And that is why my point here is employee engagement and workplace culture. According to the landmark Women in the Workplace report, a study that was carried out by McKinsey and Company and Learning.org, there is a staggering behavioral divide. The statistic shows that women leaders, far more than their male counterparts, consistently take concrete action to support employees' well-being and inclusive culture. They are statistically more likely to check in on their employees or their team members' workload, actively help them navigate burnout, and champion diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. The study also explicitly notes that employees with female managers or female bosses are more significantly likely to report that their managers consistently support their well-being and their career advancement. Now, this is not a coincidence. This is a human-centric leadership style. Therefore, let's go a bit deeper. Let us look at the global authority when it comes to workplace data, which is Gallup. According to a study carried by Gallup, a study that involved pulling millions of employees from across 4 decades, Gallup used their scientific Q12 framework to measure employee engagement, and the results cannot be denied. They are undeniable because the results show that teams that are managed by women are more engaged than teams that are managed by men. Specifically, it shows that employees are 1.3 times more likely to report that their female managers consistently, or they're 1.3 times likely to strongly agree that there is somebody at work that encourages their development because they have a female manager. They are also 1.3 times more likely to report receiving regular feedback, progress updates, and even more likely to report receiving praises and recognition for work well done. Now you may ask, why does this matter?
Is it my network or our speaker's network?
Yeah, Speakers Network.
Yeah, I think
Team
it's
members,
Speakers Network.
I encourage you to improvise and step in. All for one, one for all. Okay, that's a personal suggestion. Please, you should anticipate that network is not gender sensitive. All right. So who is going next? Thank you for your submission. Who is going next, please?
Is it from the same team or the opposite side? Sorry.
The opposite team. We had a briefing earlier. We are going in alternative ways.
No, I thought maybe because of the
My phone
network.
network. Yeah, my
The
network kicked
opposite
me
team,
out.
please.
Sorry.
The next contestant, please, from the opposite team.
Good day, Mr. Chairman, esteemed officials, my co-debaters, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akintayo Timileyin, standing to oppose the motion, women are better HR leaders than men. The motion, women are better HR leaders than men, promotes a harmful generalization because it attempts to measure professional competence through the lens of gender instead of individual ability. From a feminist perspective, this motion is fundamentally flawed and not progressive. According to unwomen.org, feminism stands on equality, fairness, and equal opportunity, not the superiority of one gender over another. Yes, we can rightly proclaim that women make a larger percentage of the HR profession. According to zippia.com, that's about 71% of the global HR population. Ladies and gentlemen, you would all agree with me that numerical dominance does not equate superiority. If numbers determine competence, then it's safe to say male engineers are better than female engineers. Male doctors are better than female doctors. Come to think of it, this is what the society is fighting of. We all are saying no to stereotype. No, we can't. We cannot continue to fight off gender stereotype while creating new ones. I would love to throw my thoughts open to the supporting team. If women are better HR leaders than men, why is gender not the primary hiring criterion? Why do we see keywords like minimum years of experience, educational qualification, core skill needed? Why not just gender? Therefore, leadership excellence and credibility should be meritoriously based on competence, experience, performance, and qualification. Before I leave, I would leave us with this quote by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. The problem with gender is that it prescribes how we should be rather than recognizing how we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akintayo, for your submission. Next contestant, please, for the team. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, my fellow co-debaters. Good evening, my esteemed panel of judges, the accurate timekeeper, and our prestigious host of the evening. My name is Zalu Moyechi, and I'm here today to support the motion that women do in fact make better HR leaders than men. So first off, I want to start off by thanking my team members who have laid some important and insightful points on the table. But I also want to bring out that, yes, our opponents mentioned that it's not just all about gender. But what we are trying to show here today is that women do have the capability, the competence, the skill set that makes them the better leader. And in any society, any organization, what we all fight for when electing a leader, when selecting a leader, is competence, not gender. So today I'm going to be showing you that women possess two very critical skills that make them good leaders, even within the HR space and outside of the HR space. Women are better communicators, that's number one, and they are better collaborators. So they outperform their male counterparts in communication skills and collaborative leadership. So did you know, first of all, that women leaders tend to use collaborative, inclusive communication styles, which is great for de-escalating conflict and building trust. And within the HR space, we always deal with employee grievances. We deal with performance appraisal, communications. We deal with change management processes. And all these require effective communication, which research has shown that women are the better communicators. And as such, they would make better HR leaders than men. So even there's this research that backs it up. So according to a research article in the Society for Personality and Social Psychology, they evaluated women and men's communication styles, and they found out that women use clearer languages, clearer visuals, clearer communication styles that are easier for the recipient to visualize and understand what is required of them. And then when compared to the male counterparts, they tend to use vague words, they tend to use abstract languages that makes it difficult for people to understand what they're saying or even interpret what is expected of them. So this further buttresses my point that women are better communicators and as such should be at the helm of affairs in the HR space of any organization. So I will go further again to show you that women are better collaborators even. So according to a Harvard Business Review research, they tried to evaluate women and men's leadership skills, and they found that out of 19 competencies, women outperform men in 17 of those competencies. I mean, that's amazing. So out of those 17 competencies where women are leading, collaboration is one of the 17 competencies that women are leading on. And that just further shows that women do make better leaders because in any organization, collaboration is key. So I leave you with this point today saying that in any organization, what type of HR leader do you want? You first of all want a leader that understands its people, that can clearly communicate the vision and mission of the organization and works tirelessly to create a supportive environment that fosters collaboration. And based off of all the arguments that my team members and I have made, that point that women are the best choice for the job. So as such, if you want your organization to succeed, I would recommend and I support the motion that women would make better HR leaders than men. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zalom. Thank you for your submission. Next, we'll go to the team that is against the motion that women are better HR leaders than men. You have the floor, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Blessing Oluwalusi, and I'm here to against the motion. Women are better HR leaders than men. My core argument is very simple. HR leadership is not just about gender, but about the ability to make tough strategic and business-driven decisions. HR today is no longer about just supporting functions of the organization. It has evolved around into strategic business function. This means that HR leaders are no longer only people that support the organization in decision making, but also they're people that directly impact the organization line. These functions are not easy. These include employee engagement, salary structuring, downsizing, policy making. All these require decisive objectivity, courage, and strong risk tolerance. Research in real world shows that male leaders are better in risk and decision making. Risk and reward leadership pattern shows that men are often more associated with risk and decision making within the organization. For example, studies published in the Journal of Behavioral Economics and Organizational Research indicate that male leaders tend to demonstrate high risk and tolerance in decision making. Simply, surveys such as those in the Pew Research, it also centered and shows that the notable perception gap in leadership is not just about just decisions, but the ability for male to also make these tough decisions for the organization. This is important because HR leadership has just gone beyond just gender of the female in the organization, but it has also made us know that the comfort base of this role is mainly not about the gender, but about who is capable to sit on this role and make these decisions for the organization to succeed. It is important for us to know that HR leadership is not just about the comfort zone or trying to make leadership positions as such. In many organizations, we have consistently demonstrated the strength and objectivity of making these tough decisions. And these decisions are not just based on emotions. So we try to take out these emotions in taking out these decisions within the organization. So taking this responsibility for difficult outcomes, like enforcing policies without emotional bias, then making it lead to high corporate environments. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to tell you that HR leadership is not just about these decisions, but just about making this decision within the organization. Therefore, the effectiveness of HR leader should not be based on the gender, but about the competencies and the decisive within the organization. To conclude, I would like to say that HR leadership is not just about being better. It is about, and not just about the gender, it is about the decisions to sustain the organization's success. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's think about this way that for you to make the effective and better decision for your organization, you will not think about the gender first, but the person who is competent on this show. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you for your submission. Now we go back to the team supporting the motion that women are better HR leaders than men. Let your representative kindly, Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. The of the fellow audience and the HR professionals on this call. To buttress more on the points of my fellow contestants about HR lady, HR in the organization is better than male counterparts. I'll go with the fact that to handle crisis management in the organization, females tend to understand how to handle it better because we relate with the life experience back at home, how we can relate it, how to resolve issues to avoid it escalating. Because an organization that does not have a good work relationship, the government will not be peaceful. The other staff to work more to give out the productivity that is desired for the organization. So in such as that, as a lady in the organization, we tend to resolve conflicts faster than how the male counterpart can resolve it, because staff are keen to move closer to the female HR. They know that we understand, we listen very well, we give them room to understand what is actually happening. We listen to the sides of the parties involved in the crisis, how to resolve it. Is it to avoid it? Is it to avoid it being escalated to any other external party? Also, as an HR, because if the crisis is not resolved on time, if it's escalated, it will affect the employees and even the organization that we are all claiming to work for. What's now the essence of the work that we are not happy at the end of the day? People are disgruntled, they are not being satisfied with the feedback of what they are complaining about. But as a female HR, we tend to listen the more, we cater to their needs the more, we ensure that we tender to them, we listen to them, we listen carefully. According to a report by SHRM 2021, they made it clear that 35% women listen more, 35% than the men counterparts in the organization. We tend to listen the more, we resolve conflict the more. It made us that, okay, once there's a conflict, men can just use nonchalant attitude to resolve the issue, but women, we want it to resolve now. We want the issue to resolve now so that it won't keep escalating the more and more. Also, on the part of litigation, as an HR personnel, female personnel, we tend to notice issues on time. Okay, this is about to happen. It will affect the company because it is money, finances. We tend to know how to quickly avoid the litigation, how to resolve it, either to go through some rightful channel, either to go to our legal practitioner to advise, what do we do to avoid the company running into losses? Because if they run into losses, it will actually affect the employees from being paid. But as a female HR, we need to understand how to handle such issues very well. We handle it, we listen to everybody, we made it well known. According to EY Group, they made it known that, okay, in organization, women they are active listener more than the male counterpart, because we listen more. We allow you to talk. We don't just jump into conclusion. We listen like a mother. Okay, talk to me. What is the issue? How can I come in? How can I resolve this? We tend to listen to their issues the more. We resolve the conflict even without the litigation being escalated, affecting both the organization, because they won't be able to pay salary if anything happens at the end of the day. So we listen, we ensure that the litigation is being resolved, and to avoid it totally, because at the end of the day, everybody needs to collect. At the end of the month, we need to pay the salaries of the employees. Once the litigation is coming back to back, you keep paying, the company running losses, and to avoid maybe or something, HR as HR female leaders, they tend to avoid this. They enter the litigation process, and that they made it die down to avoid escalating to more than what it can be, what can happen later in the future. With this viewpoint of mine, I think that, to the best of my knowledge, not to confuse you, but to convince you that HR female leaders are better in the organization than the male counterparts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bisola, for your contributions and submission. We'll move swiftly to the next contestant representing the team that is against the motion that women are better HR leaders than men. You have the floor, please.
Thank you, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers, my co-debaters, and the audience. I'm here to oppose the motion that says women make better HR leaders than men. It is important to know that human resources is fundamentally about people, strategy, culture, and growth. Now, these qualities are not exclusive to any gender, male or female. Let's look at a 2018 report titled Delivering True Diversity. McKinsey and Company showed here that organizations with diverse leadership teams consistently outperform those dominated by a single group or gender. Now, why is this so? This is obviously because both genders brings different skills to the table. A male HR leader can bring skills like crisis management, policy enforcement, and strategic negotiation, which is needed at the executive table, while a female HR leader can bring skills like emotional intelligence, communication, and collaborative leadership. Now, let's look at another article, another 2023 article by Harvard Business Review on diversity and inclusion. This article says that inclusive leadership drives better decision-making, innovation, and employee engagement because it combines different experiences and viewpoints. Emphasis on different experiences and viewpoints. Now, the opposition is bringing a few skills which is needed at the executive level. Yes, but I cannot hire an HR leader because they are just good at communicating or they are emotionally intelligent. Please, I would like to let us know that these skills can be learnt, and as a matter of fact, they are taught. So I stand to oppose this by saying that the women HR leaders, yes, they have some excellent skill sets, but they are limited when it comes to leadership because the organizations that excel are organizations that recognize diverse talents and infuse these talents to ensure organizational performance and productivity. I would like to let us know that HR leadership is determined by competence, vision, emotional intelligence, and results, and not whether you are male or female. Therefore, I strongly submit that diversity in leadership is far more powerful than gender superiority. Thank you.
Please, are we to proceed or?
I think doctor might have been kicked out. He mentioned network issues earlier.
Yes, let's proceed. If we have the next speaker here, we can proceed.
Okay, good day, everyone. Good day, the panel of judges. Good day to the conveners of this debate occasion and all existing protocols duly observed. My name is Imbufe Mary, and I am here for the motion that female HR leaders are better than their male counterparts. My colleagues have established that women are better leaders in competencies that are needed in modern HR leadership, which are empathy, collaborative leadership, communication, conflict management and de-escalation, etc. I'm here to establish that women are generally and statistically better at driving workplace engagement, which leads to talent retention, employee development, and consequently, organizational productivity. A number of factors directly linked to staff retention. Some popular conclusions are that employees that are more valued, more secure, and more supported tend to be more productive in the work environment, and not just productive, but also stay longer in a work environment. If we're to consider a brief published by the Emerald Insights on the 13th of November 2025, it particularly states that while compensation is foundational to every employee's motivation, extrinsic motivation to stay in an organization, other long-term commitments are actually reliant on meaningful work, psychological safety, and strong relationship building with colleagues and leadership. So I would highlight meaningful work, psychological safety, strong relationships with colleagues and leadership. These are elements of employee engagement, which in turn would lead to staff retention and improved productivity. Let's go back to some of the research sites that my colleagues have mentioned. For instance, Gallup.com conducted a review made by Kimberly Fitch and Sangiet Aguera. It says there that 41% of female managers are more engaged in their work than their male counterparts, which stood at 35%. Now, it didn't just stop there. It also says that subordinates under these female managers who are 41% more engaged across all work ages, like all work generations, boomers, millennials, etc. They actually function better. They are much more engaged at work than subordinates under the same male counterparts, which rates 35%. Now, what does Gallup actually refer to as engagement in the workspace? They state here that engagement is workplace engagement is the commitment and the involvement that employees feel at that work environment, that work setting. It goes further to say that engaged employees are more productive because they feel psychologically safe, they feel heard, they feel like their feedback is used in the work environment, and they feel supported most essentially. So these factors lead to retention and productivity. A Harvard Business Review published on the 25th of June 2019 by Jack Zenger and his other counterpart researcher Joseph says that 17 within 19 competencies that were checked in the workspace, 17 female managers outperformed the males in 17. And one of these 17 is relationship building. One of them is also collaborative leadership. Now, we understand that in a work environment where there is a relationship, or rather, employees feel like there is a strong relationship between employees and leadership, okay, are much more healthier to work in than the other than the reverse work environment. So yes, this kind of research, this kind of outcomes in research make staff members, make employees, make managers feel much more safer, feel much more at home within the workspace. And that's where you could see that some employees even take overtime without budging about overtime. That's where you would see that some employees go the extra mile because they take ownership for the job. In a work environment where people feel secure, where people feel safe, they take more ownership for the job. And because of ownership, they become more productive on the job. And that is also the reason they stay longer. Now, I have established that female employees are actually better at competencies that make the workspace more secure by making employees under them or subordinates feel secure, feel heard, feel psychologically safe, feel that they have meaningful work to be done. And, where we feel that our work has an impact in an organization, we tend to want to do more as individuals, not just as HR people, but generally, whether at subordinate level or executive level. At this point, I would rest my case while the other party can go on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mary. We'll take the last support against the motion. Last contribution, the fifth person for the team that is against the motion. Please take the floor.
That should be Pious. Pious, please proceed.
You can confirm if you don't have any additional submission, please.
Pius, you're muted.
Unmute, please.
Probably is not a co-host. Can
Yeah,
we look into
I think so. Please, doctor, could you make him a co-host? Could you make him a co-host? I think he's trying to unmute.
I'm trying to also reach out to them. Let me see if I can unmute you from here.
Pius, please unmute yourself. Pius, please unmute yourself.
All right. Yes, all right. I have done that. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chip, and I'm here to stand on the motion that women are better HR leaders than men. Now, human resource is the conscience of every organization. Its leaders is to be choosing on fairness merits. Therefore, saying that women are better HR leaders than men contradicts the very principle HR was created to uphold. 111 on discrimination in employment and occupation calls for equality of opportunity and treatment without any discrimination. Now, HR leadership should not be judged based on gender. It shouldn't be judged based on gender, rather it should be judged based on competence, integrity. Now, my team and I are not arguing against women in HR leadership. Rather, we are arguing against stereotype. A great leader can be a woman. And also a great HR leader can be a man. We should not judge based on gender. Rather, we should judge based on integrity, competence, professionalism, emotional intelligence. I think one of the participants mentioned about emotional intelligence, that women have that manage people. It is not on individual alone. These are skills that are being gotten. It is not something that you embodied in women. Men also have emotional intelligence. Let us see the aspect of the minding the workplace. Women have that soft mind, that is true. Men also, there are certain time that the workplace demand stronger hand, which men can bring to the workplace. So adding that women are better, yes. Yes, men are also better. So they have to bring to the workplace, not just to intelligence. These are qualities that should be gotten, that are acquired. These are qualities that are being learned. So if we learn them, we are going to implement them. So like I said, my team are not arguing against women in HR leadership. Rather, we are arguing against the stereotype, against the statement that, or the notion that women are better HR leaders than men. For this reason, my team, my team are against the motion that women are better HR leaders than men. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pius. I just want us to take a short breather here before we go to the next round, which is rebuttal. I'd like to welcome everybody on this call once again. So the first round, the two teams, spoke in favor of the motion they are supporting. In the next round, that'll be starting anytime from now, each team is going to take turns to attempt to puncture holes in the arguments, comments, submissions of the opposite teams. Note, they will take turns to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope so far you have been entertained. So far, you've learned one or two things. Feel free to use the chat box to drop your comments, your thoughts. I would like to know which part of the debate you are on. You can also drop your points in the chat box so that you can be a critical, essential part of this dialogue, of this conversation. Kudos to the team supporting the motion that women are better HR leaders than men, and well done to the team against the motion that women are better than men. Now, because Jessica started for the team, I'm going to ask the other team to start with the rebuttal. So the first person, and when I say person now, the team will nominate their representative. But the team that is against the motion that women are better HR leaders than men, you will start the rebuttal. We have 2 to 3 people to do that, and you have 2 to 3 minutes for the rebuttal. Who is going first? Thank you.
Gentlemen, my name is Femi Omoshen, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity. So the opposition keep presenting professional skills as female skills. They talk about emotional intelligence. They talk about being caring. They talk about listening skills. They talk about being women HR, being good communicators and collaborators. These are professional skills that can be learned, that can be acquired, that can be developed. They are human skills, professional skills. They don't belong to women. those skills are not women's property. They are not women's heritage. So, talking about emotional skill, a 2024 meta-analysis studies of 716 persons on aom.org says that emotional intelligence as a skill is a mixed, it depends on the context. It's a mixed result, mixed outcome. Both men and women, they can have that skill as far as it is developed and then it is learned. So emotional intelligence is not the property of women. It's a professional skill that can be learned by both men and women. And secondly, they talk about being caring. Being caring is a human trait. It's a human thing. It's not a female thing. So both men and women can be caring. It's a professional. Every HR person, whether is a man or is a woman, can be caring. Because as an HR, it takes being caring to be an HR. And from statistics, we have more successful male HR. For example, the founding fathers, they are all men. Dave Ulrich, Robert Owens, and of course Kirkpatrick. They are all male HR, and it is important to know that these skills, they are professional skills that can be learned by anyone. And of course, they talk about listening skill, communication skill, being collaborators. Those are skills that can be learned by anyone, that can be honed, that can be nurtured, and that can be developed by anyone. And it is not the prerogative gift of women. It's something that belongs to everyone. So I expect our opponents to tell us why female HR, women HR are better than male HR. But I didn't see that because I was thinking that these are professional skills. They are not a female thing. So the question should not be that women HR are better than male HR. I think my team, my side of the debate thinks that the question should be that men and women that are trained, that are good communicators, that are good listeners, they should be the best. And that is why companies, organizations, they don't hire based on gender. If not, all female HRs, all HRs should be female. But we have most successful HR are all male. And that is because HR skills it has to do with competencies, has to do with skills and not gender. So I believe that our opposition needs to understand that the HR space is a space that has been shaped by men, by the impact of men. All the theories, most theories that we advance, that we use in HR have been developed by men. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I believe with that we can convince them that both male and women HR, they are both important, but none is superior to one another. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Femi. Ladies and gentlemen, it's super important we stay within the time limit for the rebuttals, 2 to 3. Just also note that fresh points will count. No need to reiterate or repeat any points earlier mentioned. That's for the benefit of all. I would like to go to the team who is supporting the motion that women are better HR leaders than men for their own rebuttal round. Over to you, please. Who is your representative, please?
Good day, everyone. Standing on the already established protocol, I'm Stella, the first rebuttal for the proposing team. Well, I heard the opposing team make a statement during the first speaker's speech about men being the leaders of CIPM and human resource development from 1968 down to the 1970s. And based on my own research, that didn't happen because women weren't competent to be leaders, but rather it happened because of dominance, male domination. the male were dominant. As of that time, the women were not allowed to occupy leadership positions. That was basically the reason why women were not even opportuned to be in such position. It was basically more of gender stereotype, not because women didn't have the competency to occupy those positions. And then I heard my opponent also say something about us talking in numerics, that numbers doesn't count. When we talk about numerics and numbers, that does research, we are talking about worldwide research. And if you notice, the proposing teams are all giving out their points based on research done in different places that covers worldwide competencies. And let's be true about one fact. When it comes to human resource development and leadership, it is required that staff retentionship is a very important part of human resource development, and as well as career growth and development. If the staffs are not retained, if you keep losing staffs in a particular organization, it means that the HR is failing and the leadership is also failing. If the employees are not being developed, they are not feeling comfortable in the environment, the HR as a whole is failing, and that department shouldn't even exist. And when we talk about the opponent saying male and female have this emotional intelligence, everybody has it, is a skill you can learn, you can this, you can that. We agree with that. But statistically, logically, and based on research, it has been proven that women do more better, 11 to 12% over than men. For the fact that they have this competency way more than men, it shows that they are more qualified. Now, don't get us wrong. The debate is not about us saying that male are not qualified or they're bad leaders or they're not capable of being leaders in HR. No. The debate is centered on which gender is better. And we are proposing that the female are better. I was hoping or expecting to hear the opposing team giving us points on why the male or men are better in the position, or should be the better aspect or the better result or the better opinion in the leadership point for HR. But I keep hearing them talk about gender stereotype, feminism, and all whatnot. And I keep asking, why is it that when male were dominating this leadership, when the male gender were the ones dominating, they were the ones handling all this leadership at every point, not giving the females any space to have this leadership? Why didn't anyone talk about leadership superiority? Why didn't anyone tag men as people that are occupying leadership superiority? Why did anyone condemn them and say, you people are you're practicing gender stereotype, you people are being too dominating? Nobody ever said anything. It was okay. But now, because research is showing logically, statistically, that female are actually better, they have more competencies that are basically the most important competencies needed. The basic ones, the most important ones needed for human resource development. These competencies are more especially owned. Basically, they've done the research, we've checked the logics, we've checked analytically everything. It is showing that females are far much more competent for these positions. I am still expecting the opposing team to give us specific details, the statistics on what makes male better in human resource leadership, because for now, it just feels like you failed in giving us any logic on that. All I can say is that you just keep tagging it back to gender stereotype and feminism, of which that is mainly practiced by the male because of male dominance and gender stereotype from the male. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Queen Stella Okore, for your rebuttal. Now we'll go to the opposing team, the team supporting the motion or against the motion that women are better men, HR leaders than men. For your second rebuttal, please, who is standing in? I'm really enjoying this debate, very insightful. At the end of the session, we'll get general comments and feedback from our judges and evaluators, and also some of the senior HR leaders in the house. And of course, anybody who wants to share a thought or comment. Please note, when we are providing general feedback or comments, don't mention any contestant. Just provide the feedback in general so that all of us will learn. All right. Again, everybody who has come out here, I doff my hat for you. I celebrate you. This is commendable. Who is going for the rebuttal next, please? Or do we not have any additional rebuttal?
Yes, you do. Can you hear me,
Okay.
sir? Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so earlier, my colleague or the other team supporting women are better, they made mention of being better communicators and collaborators. So I'd like to ask, if communication was gender based, why do people go for certifications? Why do they go for training? This is to show that communication is not just about being a woman, and does not have to show that because you're a great communicator, it leads you to be in the better position. No, communication is an effective skill that we keep improving on. And let's remember that communication does not have to do with whether a person is a male or a female. It's about the active listening skills. And again, communication is not complete when the other party has not gotten feedback. So it's a two-way communication. So for collaboration, one of the skills that are evident in you becoming an HR or even generally in the workplace is teamwork. So being in a team does not mean that you have to be a male or a female. And remember, most organizations, when looking out for some roles or most roles, they do not say female preferably. They make it know that it is not a gender base. So let's talk about human resources generally. Some of the organizations, you notice that for these roles, when even advertising their roles, they will not say they want a male or a female, or they will not say they want female because of the gender. No, they are always looking for specific skills that make the person stand out. So whether a male or a female, no matter who is, it is the most important thing to note that in that such organization or such interview, everyone is going for the best. That is not about being gender. Then let's talk about again the communication aspect. So for this communication, you know that one of the things that has to do with even communication is the negotiation. And I notice that in most cases, when it comes to negotiation on the table, the men brings this negotiation to the table. If you're talking about most of the leaders in top places, let's not even go outside Nigeria. Let's go to some of the leaders leading in such organizations or the CEOs in some of the leading organizations in Nigeria. Let's not just even go to the world. They will talk about Dangote, we'll talk about Tony Enumero, and we'll talk about different leaders that are also taking part and shaping the economy as a whole. So we will not say that communication is a female thing, but it's not. It's communication is not tied to a female, but it's tied to everyone. And in such as life, we keep moving and also learning ourselves in order for us to be great communicators. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blessing, for your rebuttal. Thank you so much. We'll go to the other team supporting the motion that women are better HR leaders than men. It's time for your rebuttal.
Okay, thank you everyone that has contributed to the session so far. So one thing our opponents on the other side keep on mentioning is about gender, that skills are not particular to any gender, which is true. Everyone has that possibility to learn that skill. But what I want to ask my opponents is, whenever a job interview is going on, when they are going to evaluate someone for a position, they don't evaluate you based on your gender, they evaluate you based on your skill set, right? So you can't keep on saying that, because we're saying women have this skill set than men. It doesn't mean that we're backing the gender. It just means that we are showing you the statistics to prove that women do come on top when evaluating these important skill sets. When being considered for leadership positions, evaluators look at, do they have good communication skills? Because as a leader, you have to communicate effectively. Do they have those leadership qualities, collaboration, strategic thinking? And the research is showing us that women are topping the charts than men. So it's not about gender. It just shows that women have evolved so far over the years and have deliberately been intentional about building up their skill set, building up their brand to be able to effectively lead better than men, even in the HR space. So one thing I would like to put out there to my opponents, that it's not about men or women being better. The science just shows us that women have actually really, really been very, very intentional in building their skill sets to outperform their male counterparts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zalu. So we have 2 to 3
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening once again, everybody. My name is Deborah. So, our opponents have been talking about when it comes to HR, it should not be gender-based. It should be based on competencies. It should not be based on biology and all of that. We are not saying that all these competencies or all these things we've talked about are women's property, or that men are not good HR leaders. Of course, there are good HR leaders as well. But we are talking about who is better. And so far, we've given you data, we've given you statistics, we've given you information, we've given you studies that were carried out by world-class organizations to show that when it comes to these competencies that we are talking about, women have the upper hand. But you have not given us any data or any statistic that is opposing all of this data that we've spoken about. There is no article saying that, oh, the study done by Harvard Business School or McKinsey or learning.org is biased or is incorrect or it is not right, or the method they used in carrying out the study was not okay. There is nothing like that. Instead, there is data, and we have shown it to you that when it comes to competency, especially in this day of modern HR, competency is defined by who is able to drive employee engagement, who is able to mitigate burnout, who is able to build a high performance culture, who can do this thing better, not who can do it, but who does it better. And statistics have shown, data have shown that women do it better. One of the opposition team member mentioned that if women were better HR leaders, then the president of CIPM would be a woman, or by now would have had a CIPM female president. Let me remind you that the CIPM president is not recruited, he is elected by vote. And the CIPM president does not do the normal day-to-day HR tasks sitting as CIPM president. That is not what he does. So I don't see that as a valid point or as a valid point of argument. You can't say that. The reason why we have more male leaders around the world, like my colleague said, is because of the stereotype and history that has shown that back in the days, women were not allowed to do all of these things. But now that we are being given opportunity, we can see from statistics, from data, that women are coming up and they are doing way better than their male counterparts. Also, one of the opposing team members said all these skills are skills that can be taught, and he mentioned empathy. Please let me let you know that empathy cannot be taught. It is an inbuilt quality. It is not, you can't teach somebody to feel sorry. You can't teach somebody to own up to their mistake, or you can't teach them how to feel. You can't. So it is not something, some of these skills that we are talking about are not things that can be taught. There are things that are inherently in women. There are things that women do better when it comes to those things, and we've listed them out to you. So maybe you guys are not understanding the point of the debate, and that is why you are saying, no, we are saying it as if they are women property, or that these skills are only for women. No, fine, both men and women have these skills, they have this competency, but when it comes to who does it better, statistics have shown, data has shown that women do these things better than the other person. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your rebuttal. And I think at this intervention, it's safe to conclude that we have taken all rebuttals from both sides. We just have two more submissions, and that will be the closing round. For the closing round, a representative of both teams have 2 to 3 minutes to close out. And within those 2 to 3 minutes, you can say whatever you have to say in support of your argument. I would like to go to the team that is supporting the motion that women are better than men for their closing round. 2 to 3 minutes, you have the floor. Please, if you are the representative, please go ahead and speak.
Doctor, sir, we've only had 2 participants from the opposing team for the rebuttals, while we had 3 from the other team.
Please go ahead with your rebuttal. Please go ahead with your rebuttal.
Yes, Ebuka, over to you, please. Hello, Ebuka for rebuttal.
All right, apologies about that. That was a network glitch. So to make reference to what the supporting team has said, I will start with the Harvard Business Review that has been quoted about women taking the 17 traits out of 19. So for context sake, we need to clarify that there's a difference between leadership traits, potential, and leadership effectiveness. Permit me to bring in a context in terms of football. So when we look at the data, according to UEFA ranking for 2026, Real Madrid Football Club has the most valuable players and then the greatest potential according to the ranking. But in terms of effectiveness, they went 12 less for the season. So that is able to justify that leadership traits and potentials are two different things from leadership effectiveness. Also, I'm going to quote one of the supporting team members who said the earlier leadership at CIPM was as a result of gender stereotype. And we cannot continue to fight off gender stereotype while creating new ones. We can as well give 1,000 reasons as to why men are better. But we all are saying no to gender stereotype. Also, according to research,
Akintayo, you are muted.
Oh, pardon me. So also, according to a research, Teamwork on the Fly by Amy Edmondson in Harvard Business Review, that was April 2012. There is no Harvard Business Review there is no consistent evidence that one gender is naturally better at collaboration or people management. So therefore, we can't fully conclude that women are better HR leaders than men just on statistics, just on leadership traits. We are HR, and the code of conduct is that we are built and trained to evaluate based on performance, based on results, and based on competence. So we won't be here giving out reasons why men are better. I noticed one of the supporting team said we should give reasons why men are better, but this is against our code of conduct. We are built on fairness and equality. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your rebuttal. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving straight to the final round. 2 to 3 minutes, one person each. Who would like to go first? One person each per group.
Sir, I'm the final rebuttal for my team, for the supporting team.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Okay.
Thank you.
So standing on the already existing protocol, I'm okay with Stella. I'll be we talking?
Hold on. Let me go now.
Hold on, Stella. Jessica is
Thank you.
going
Apologies.
first.
Thank you, sir. I'm the third rebuttal for the supporting team. And my opposition party mentioned, you've been talking about stereotyping. I think your fourth speaker precisely talked about it's not a stereotyping and the likes. And then we've had other of your speakers that says men are stronger in diversity and inclusion than women. I would like to state emphatically that so far, the evidences we have proven have not been, number one, they are not emotional evidences, they are world-class evidences. Proving. Now, one of your speakers also made reference to architectural and engineering professions. We are addressing, the topic today is addressing the HR profession, and it's asking that which of these two genders have the better competencies to handle this role or are better leaders in handling this role as long as competency is concerned. Now, we have tendered different relevant references, and to the point that says that men are stronger in diversity and inclusion, you would want to double check that According to McKinsey.com, their report as at 2024, which is a recent report, 2024 and 2025, McKinsey.com report and Learning.com report shows that companies with higher female in leadership, right, they show stronger progress in the workplace as far as inclusion and gender diversity is concerned. Now, permit me to also mention 6 core HR skills and give you relevant statistical worldwide references. We are not making emotional submissions here. We are making submissions that have been proven over time. All right. Now, number one, emotional intelligence. We have the statistics of the conferry.com, right? That a research was carried around for 55,000 professionals across 90 countries across the world, and females stood out to have 11 of those competencies out of 12. That is a strong universal example and evidence. Number two, when you talk about employee relations and employee and empathy, my partner has also stated the fact that empathy is not something that can easily be learned. It's something that is somewhat inbuilt to a great extent. While it can be learned to an extent, it is somewhat inbuilt. And women, and to statistically prove this, women, according to Conferry study, again, shows that women are 45% have more empathy and are more stronger in emotional employee relations than men, 45% higher. Now, you come to talk about communication. These are core HR competencies. You talk about communication and relationship management. Then we have...
Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you, Jessica. Time up. Time up. Closing rounds only. Closing rounds only. Who is closing? Stella, are you closing, please?
No,
yeah,
sir.
I'm closing for the proposing team.
Yeah, only people closing can speak now. 2 more closing. 1 for each team. So who is closing first?
We will close, sir. The opposing team will close.
Go
sir.
ahead. Anything you say now is closing, please. Go ahead with the closing.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So our opponents spoke about statistics, us not having statistics to support our claims for the competencies that we say that men are better at. Now, here are several numbers for you. According to a Zenga and Folkman study in 2012 and 2019, men rated higher in strategic perspective and technical expertise in both rounds, 2012 and 2019. According to a Pew Research in 2015, 34% of respondents say that men are better at risk-taking, which speaks to bottom line. HR strategy is aimed at bottom line. You don't expect a CHRO to be to deal with employees on a daily basis, responding to their emotions. So according to our opponents, the competencies you've been speaking about are at best tactical and not strategic. Now, here's another statistics for you. Pew Research in 2018, 41% of respondents say that men are more willing to take risks in business. Bottom line. According to a Sapient Insight in 2025, more strategic HR roles shift to men as visibility increases. According to a Conferry 2014 report, women one full leadership level behind men in critical experience, not tactical experience. And according to a TKI study in 2004 to 2009, comprising of 462,000 respondents, men score higher on collaboration and conflict mode. It is been known colloquially that women will rather work with their male counterparts than female counterparts. So the point for collaboration on our opponents' end is null and void. Now, according to my opponents' research, their research relies on surveys, observational data, and at best 360-degree assessments rather than randomized controlled clinical trials, which biological studies are to be based on. This kind of studies measure only perception of effectiveness, not always hard business metrics. Surveys are not empirical data. Also, as we all know, DEI initiatives are women targeted to increase inclusion, especially in leadership. If women were as effective as they say, they would naturally take up such leadership positions, especially in core critical competencies in today's business world, such as data analytics, such as business acumen. And lastly, female HR leadership presence is saturated in care industries such as healthcare and hospitalities. Female HR leadership is lower in let's say technical and financial industries. And lastly, the emphasis of this debate is on strategic leadership, not gender saturation. Thank you, and over from me.
Thank you so much, Comfort, for your closing remarks. Now, we'll take the closing remark from the other team, supporting the motion women are better than men. 2 to 3 minutes. Over to you, please.
Good evening, everyone. So, still standing on already established protocol, I am Stella, and I'll be the speaker handling the closing speech for the proposition. Well, it is very important for everyone here today to note that this debate is not an attempt to portray men as bad or incapable leaders in human resource leadership. It would be intellectually dishonest. But however, this debate is not centered on whether men can lead or not. Rather, it is focused on which gender is more compatible, psychologically and logically consistent in being better leaders in human resource. And as we all know, the proposing team have established our case based on logical, analytical, and well-organized points that we all gathered from researches, from organizational charts, from even workplace studies. And we all did this in support of the motion that women have proven to be consistently strong in effectively being good human resource leaders in modern roles of HR. It's also to be noted that women do not merely lead. They don't just lead human resource. They unlock potentials in human resource. And it's also good to know that the way they include communication and collaborative strength, it makes them highly effective as leadership skills in HR. And they possess the best leadership competency that directly produces productivity, staff retention, and as well as employee development. I know that my opponents would always argue that human resource leadership should not be based on gender, but it should be based on competencies and strategy. But let's come back to one thing. When you say they are the ones that take risk, male take risk, there are project management. There are people that are the project managers. There are people that are the business administration managers. Every organization has its own department, and every department has its own role. So do not mistake the role of a human resource department for the one of a project manager. The project manager handles the risk. And it is basically the duty of the human resource to manage the humans, the personnel that are employed, to ensure that their welfare is taken care of. They feel happy and comfortable in the environment or the workplace so that they don't leave, so that there will not be high rate of staff reduction and then more of staff reduction. So it is very important for us to note that despite the fact that we know that both genders are good, but the purpose of this debate is to specify which gender does it better. And I believe that we have been able to convince you and not confuse you that the female genders are better human resource leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stella. Again, please, ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate all the contestants, the 2 teams, and the 12 debaters. This has been phenomenal. Thank you so much. At this point, of course, we need time for our judges to put their thoughts together. Hopefully, we'll know the winning team. It's also possible to have individual awards. Best debater is possible. Best rebuttal, that's also possible. I'm going to throw the floor open generally now. If you have any comments, and I'm talking to the the listeners, the audience, if you have any comments for us with respect to this debate, please raise your hands and I'll recognize you to give you the floor. Please note, for the purpose of your comments or feedback, please don't mention any individual. It's important. And also do us the favors, tell us something good before you tell us something bad. You understand? Tell us something beautiful before you give us an area of improvement. All right. I'm checking to see if anyone would like to say something. Let me also throw this in. Perhaps you want to support any of the motion and just speak for like 2 minutes. I'm also happy to give you the floor to speak for like 2 minutes to support any of the motion. Note, of course, you won't be eligible. You are not going to be eligible to win anything. I'll start with Kunle, then we go to Ayomide Fashino. Kunle, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So I want to say a big well done to both teams, both the people who supported the motion and those who were against the motion. For those who supported the motion, they really came with the facts. They came very prepared. We could see insights from different academic researches that have been done. And yes, I really learned a lot from them. And for those who came who were against the motion, I could also see them their angle of preparation for this debates at this time. I think the feedback that I want to give is to the team who were against the motion. Personally, I felt that we were not able to address the points of the debate. It's a debate, it's not a podcast or a soundbite. Doctor already mentioned it that this is purely a debate and we are not supporting any gender or anything. We are just trying to gain more knowledge and even get more insight on the different parts. It was at the tail end of things that is when Comfort was able to come up with points that actually supported their motion of being against women being better HR leaders, which should have come earlier. We know this HR job, we need to be balanced. Everybody's strategic. Everybody's doing the job very well. We have areas of improvement. We know all of that. For instance, now, if I was going to be against the motion, I can mention that if we want to look at recent trends about toxic HR bosses, 90% of those that have been mentioned are ladies. This is purely fact. You can go and check it anyway. And anybody that is against that, we can talk after this. But 90% of them are ladies, HR ladies in different positions. Those were the kind of things that I would have expected. And I think some other people share this motion to have heard from the parties who are against the motion. So I didn't really get that. But kudos to everybody and nice job done.
Thank you so much, Kunle. Thank you for your submission. Ayomide Fashino, you have the floor, please.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you to everyone so far. It's been a really insightful session. The arguments were pretty solid. Thank you to everyone. So what I want to say is, while I get the end of the opposing team's um, entire area of concentration, which is to avoid stereotypes, I also want us to understand something that each industry has certain stereotypes around it. For instance, like somebody mentioned, in engineering, it is more male dominated. So if you're having this conversation around engineering that, oh, female engineers make better engineers than male engineers, it's going to be a different ballgame. So when it comes to um, being emotionally balanced, yes, there are toxic, in fact, a lot of toxic female HR bosses, right? But then when it comes to innate nature, like innate skills, like emotional intelligence, which is what we're really hammering on. I think females, women make better HR leaders. But aside from that, this conversation, it is solid because it is in the HR industry. If you're talking about engineering, if you're talking about like I'm in the engineering sector, it's hard for us to get female engineers. It doesn't mean that female engineers are not competent. It just means that that is an area that is not very dominated by that gender. So it doesn't make one gender better or not better than the other. But on this matter, there are some innate skills I strongly believe that female HRs possess that males do not possess. I mean, I've seen a guy at my office that told me once that, let's go one-on-one with these guys. I don't understand. What's the meaning of this? I can go one-on-one. I have to be the one telling him, an HR, that you have to calm down. So it's something that I've encountered a lot with males in leadership. So that's my submission.
Thank you so much, Ayomide, for your contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been exciting. This has been engaging. I would like to come over to the judges for their general feedback. In no particular order, if any judge is ready to go, if you raise your hands, I will yield the floor to you. Again, I'm still open if you have any comments from the floor. If you have any comments, just raise your hands and we're happy to take it. Victor Adebayo, I don't know if you are ready with general comments, please.
Yes, thank you very, very much. Good evening, everyone. It's been a very interesting debate, and I listened with rapt attention. And I must say, I was taken aback by the myriads of research and the papers and the documents here. I said, these guys just want to force me to do a PhD. I mean, you guys kept quoting the various research institutes and, talking about all the outcome of their research and data work. I think that's a very, very good job that has been done by both sides, actually. And just one, maybe a couple of thoughts from my own perspective. I was an active debater in secondary school. And when you're given a topic of debate, you are either speaking for or against. And when you are speaking for, you are asserting that the topic of that debate is true. And when you are speaking against, you are saying the topic is not true and you are not stopping there. You are actually asserting that the reverse is true. That the reverse is true. And there were a lot of brilliant points that the opposing team did make mention of. But when it comes to the conclusion, you were hitting the nail on the head for me. So the debate is literally about women are better leaders than men in the HR space, or men are better leaders than women in the HR space. There's no middle way. There's no middle ground. It's either this or that. And, I was expecting a lot of fireworks in that. I don't know if I can mention names. The first lady who spoke on the opposing team, I mean, her communication was brilliant. The data she shared was excellent. But then when it comes to the conclusion, she seems to go soft. Come on, especially when it was even this final point. And then she just laid it out, bam, bam, bam. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, you're just coming to the party. And then in the end, I'm like, oh gosh, come on, you're supposed to say it. Remember, it's an intellectual debate. It's a research-driven debate to be able to prove the point that you have. And I love the point when somebody said, how many of you would like to work with female managers? We all say it, in our rooms to say, I'd rather work with a male manager, female manager will give each other attitude. I was expecting some of those kind of fireworks, no holes barred. And then we can actually trash all of these things out. In the end, we all believe, we all bring something to the table. Diversity is key. But that's not the essence of this debate. The essence of this debate is you are either supporting the fact that women are better or you are supporting the fact that men are better. I just wanted to lay that out and also to give it as a guidelines for further debate. So irrespective of what the topic is, irrespective of how controversial it may sound, you are either for the topic or you are certain that the reverse is actually the case. And that's what a debate should really be all about. The other thing is also the degree of preparedness by each of the team members. There's nothing stopping you from having a talking point. I will never go into a debate without my talking point. And then there's also the flow in terms of how I'm going to link this up with the next one, linking this up with the next one. It helps you to be able to reduce the amount of filler words that you use and helps you to be able to bring about cogent points. And it also helps you to stop repeating points or trying to overflow a particular point. You can either fill it in with examples that helps you to buttress that point rather than stammering and going round around that. You lose your audience doing all of that. Those are just some of the thoughts I had at the back of my mind to be able to point out to you. But like I said, brilliant performance from everybody. The research that you guys have done, I've noted some of them that I'm going to go and check out those things and see what I can just actually lay my hands on some of those points too. Thank you very much. That's just a quick feedback from my end.
Thank you so much, Victor Adebayo. Thank you so much. I'm on standby for Ezene Obiora in case you are able to speak. I'm also on standby for Pamela in case you are able to speak. I also took a few notes during this session, and mine is just also general feedback, and I'm not trying to rehash anything Victor has said or any of the two contributions we got from my friend Kunle and also Ayomide earlier on. So first and foremost, I'd like to say that what are some of the key competencies a debate and preparation for a debate will do for you? In no particular order. One, for you to be able to debate, you must be able to synthesize ideas. You synthesize ideas for the motion and against the motion, because if you don't synthesize both ways, you will not be able to situate your context and win an argument. Another important thing is debate as at the heart of debate is subtle negotiation. You want to prove a point. You want to also show why your point is superior to the other party. The third point, very quickly, is that debate helps you refine your public speaking, which is very important when we talk about persuasive speaking and getting management over, winning management over. Of course, you did this very well. Debate helps build your research and data literacy. You have to go and search what has been done, what are the activities, reports, what are they speaking about. Debate helps you to be able to critique. Some of us don't like criticism, but criticism is good because if you can't critique your work, you can't get to the best version of your work and your output. You cannot debate if you cannot think critically. This is very important. The last point I would like to make with respect to key competencies from debate is the fact that debate helps you to be able to respectfully disagree. I'm saying this very slowly. Respectfully disagree. And if there's one thing in HR we should do a little more of, is to be able to respectfully disagree with the CEO, respectfully disagree with the CFO, respectfully disagree with the line manager. Note those two words, respect and disagreement. But in this context, it is together. Some of us can disagree and we disagree so badly. Some of us can be respectful and we're so respectful that we don't engage. We must be able to respectfully disagree. I saw a lot of data from both sides. I like that. But I didn't see a lot of examples. At some point, especially during the rebuttal, someone else started mentioning David Ulrich is a man. Exactly in my mind, where did you put all of this? I would have expected that you will give us international men or women, you give us Nigerian men or women who are prolific in the HR space. Will have mentioned, oh, so of so organization, so of so organization. I expected stories. I expected that in the debate, some of the debaters will have used personal stories. Even the personal stories can be fictitious. Don't forget, this is an intellectual conversation. It doesn't have to have happened to you, and it can be third party. It can be, you know, a situation, you heard of a context. Data is important, but data is not the only tool to sway conversations. We need stories. real life stories. Why are we saying all of these things? Some of us just take raw HR data and take it to the management or board. You don't weave it them into stories that will become what? Persuasive. Please, it's very, very important. All right. I hope I've not spoken too much. I just said, let me drop those thoughts. Let me now come back to my co-judges if they are ready to speak. Ezene Obiora, are you available to speak? Pamela Elekwachi, are you available to speak? General thoughts. Okay,
All right.
Pamela.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Good evening, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me and you can see me. I can't find my face.
Loud and clear. I can hear you, my sister.
All right then. So I want to, oh, my camera is on. I want
We
every
can't
one
see
of the,
you. Okay, now
oh
we
yes,
can
yes,
see
yes.
you.
I found my face. I wish I was showing my face. I think it would have been a distraction. I love, love, love debates, and I want to congratulate everyone for bringing it on, right? But there was something I was expecting to see. I saw it at some point. I saw it in some people's speeches. Debate is fire. Debate is bringing a gun to a knife fight. There is this rule that I usually would say during a debate: don't insult anybody, be respectful, be professional. But boy, you need to be hitting them on their head. I will not reference anyone in particular, but I have a long list of what we did very well. I love that we're able to, they've mentioned it already, cite those examples, mention those researches, and be specific with those researches. There is something else I would have loved to see. I would have loved to see where the research was very specific. I saw it in a few places. I think one of the speakers said this particular thing is 1.3 times more likely to happen. This is 1.3 times likely for this. She was very specific. But I would have also loved to see where we mentioned the research in full. I think one or two speakers did that, where they mentioned the name of the study, the year, the author, that's specific. It just means that you have researched this topic. It's not about pulling an information from the website. Okay, what if I want to go there and I go to, let us say, shrm.com or .org, and I'm lost, right? So it helps if you're very specific about where your research is coming from so that others can go back and reference it and use it for their other engagements. I also love that people came in, but when you're making your points in a debate, like the other speaker just said, that coordination needs to be there for everything you need to present and also the things that you want to go against so that it's quite clear on who is saying what, so that even if you get to repeat yourselves, it will not be so obvious. But you're able to say, this is my point. And at each point you make your point, you will knock the other person out the head and say, no, you're not getting this right. So I really love that everybody came with their A game. I really love the type of feedback, right? That in terms of the rebuttals. But at some point I was confused. Some people did not seem to be very clear on their topics. Debates are very tricky because if you're not careful, one person may say something and throw you off your point. Throwing you off your point means that you are almost playing into their hands. You're almost conceding. You're almost saying, oh, I didn't do this. Or no, don't admit. Just say, I think. I know. I heard someone say, I think. When you're thinking, that means you're not that sure. I believe you're not that sure. I know. You need to hit it on their head. It's a debate. No, please. I know that when we keep on doing this, we will get better, but I really want to congratulate everyone. In terms of body language, yes, this is a virtual space, but I saw some fantastic use of body language. You need to be convincing. You need to come with that persuasive mode, that ask questions. Once you engage your audience, you will notice that things will change. There was this mention about saying, giving practical examples, right? Practical examples. Yes, I can quote, I can give a statistic, I can reference a book, but how about using my own personal anecdotes? I'm not too sure I heard too much of that in the room. People using their own personal experiences as evidence for what they were saying. I would have loved to see more of that. But all in all, everybody brought their A game. I have very specific feedback. I think at some point we'll find a way to get it to them. But kudos to everyone. You did well. Thank you so much. And I'll go back to putting my sheets together. Back to you, my DTM, sir.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pamela. I've sent you a message so that we can consolidate and compare notes. We would like to take comments, final comments now from Toastmaster Ezine Obiora. Ezine, you have the
Good
floor, please.
evening. Good evening, everyone. Really interesting debates. At the risk of not repeating what everyone has said, because I did make my notes as I was listening to everything. I'll first of all say well done to everyone. One thing I like to point out was the great use of time. I can count on one hand or probably half of, maybe a few fingers, how many people kind of overshot the time. You all made great use of your time, so well done. Also, there were a lot of learnings. I was hearing things like, wow, okay, we're going to do more research and dig deep. So it showed that, some people did do the work. Now, I really was expecting, because when we have offline, I observe offline conversations, right? I was really expecting a lot more from the debates in terms of, both teams, yeah? I feel like one team seemed to have done their homework a lot better. I don't know if anybody has listened to us talk, in previous contests that we've had. One thing I'm big on is data, right? Do your research. And if you do your research, back it with data. And I've also said this thing before. I've said, people don't say most, don't say, back your data, back your facts with data, validated data. So there was something I made a comment on, and it was the rebuttals. I know towards the end, the rebuttals were actually feeling like actual rebuttals, but at the beginning, I was like, are these rebuttals? Because do we really understand what rebuttals are, to address certain things? And a comment I made was, argue data with data. So if you're going to argue something, make sure that and the person has made a point back to data. Make sure you have your own data to meet that person's data. I didn't see, that in some of the rebuttals. I also, there were certain speeches, certain debates, or certain rebuttals that were strong, or certain positions that were very strong. But then, some of them also tapered towards the end. I didn't really see too many strong closing comments. You've started on a high, and then at the end, I'm like, So again, another thing, the team that was against, where they say in debates, my aim is to convince you, not to confuse you. I'll be honest, for some part I was confused, because I was like, and I made a comment. I said, are you arguing for diversity, or are you arguing against women being better leaders? But then are you arguing for diversity? So it didn't feel like your team was aligned. Some people were saying, yeah, we're not coming here to argue. We're not necessarily, it's not about gender, but it's about diversity. So I was like, So teams that are for a particular position, is good that you work on your cohesion, because the team that was for women, you could tell that everybody was on the same page. They were aligned. Everybody came out to speak along those lines. I did not notice that for the other team. And I know that the other judges have said it, and I made notes. Some of the positions were also not very persuasive. Yes, we talk about data, people use data, and that was great. But then, do you know that there are debates that you watch, right? And people tell stories, people tell their real life experiences, people tell real life case studies, and you are convinced, even if you were for a particular thing. By the time somebody reels you in with what they're saying, they're like, okay, I'm moving on to this side. But I didn't see that, people were just, it was either people that had data to back it up, but then there were not other things, other stories or case studies to back it up. Interesting that we talk about, we're talking about things like emotions and all that. Now, I say data is not emotional. So it was very clear, the team that presented data, it wasn't about, how you feel or whatever. It was, the data doesn't lie. It tells you the story. So kudos to the team that brought out, or the people that spoke that brought out data. I was happy. Now, another thing I'd like to touch on is, also I made a comment. I saw that there was some people that, or one person, I think, that made the closing statement. And that was when you were now reeling out the, data. And I was like, oh, why couldn't you guys have taken some of this and put in your previous arguments, you would have really made things nice. I know that, yes, closing argument, you want to go out with a bang, but if you had taken some of that, to also add in your previous arguments, to be brought forward, it would have really been nice. But on the overall, you guys did well. I encourage you also to look at debates, because that's the thing is, if you watch debates, we grew up watching debates, some of us participated in these things, and we see how, people come out with a lot of passion, because I didn't really see, there were people that came with the passion, but I didn't really see it in everybody. It felt like some people just. So, I mean, well done, but there's an opportunity to get better and improve. Well done, and congratulations to everyone, for everybody that participated. Well done. You did a good job. There's always room for improvement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ezine. Thank you so much. At this intersection, while we are waiting to collate data with respect to the outcome from our judges, I'd like to take maybe one or two comments from each team. Okay, one or two comments. And now we're talking about maybe your experience in preparation. How did you prepare as an individual and as a team? Participating in this particular debate, what has it done? What's eye-opening? Anybody from the contestants, please? Sorry, of time won't be able to take comments from everyone. So just take maybe one or two from each group. Anybody wants to say something? All right. I'll start with Stella. Queen Stella Okoro. You have the floor, please.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Well, in regards to the preparation, honestly, it felt like it was chaotic at first, because everybody had busy schedules. We had things we were doing. We didn't even know if we made schedule for pre-practice, and then at the end of the day, we couldn't make it. No one would believe that we actually had to make our practice was today. I think around morning to afternoon time, within 11 to 12 1, that was when we successfully got a chance to actually talk amongst ourselves finally before we came for the debate. So it wasn't really easy, basically because everybody had things they were doing. And some of us were floating like me. I was seriously confused when I made my face closure. I was like, I told Jessica, are you sure we'll do this thing? I just told her, no. This is beginning to look very chaotic. But at the end of the day, we just had to go back and work on ourselves individually, time ourselves individually. So it's been a nice experience. It's been a while I did debate. I think that was basically when I was in primary school, secondary school. I haven't done it for a long time. But thank God, I love the experience. It was really nice. Like, if someone would tell me that my heart was beat when I started, but then along the line, I just saw myself going. I'm like, oh, really? You actually could make this statement here. So it was really nice. And I'll look forward to probably trying it one more time or some other times. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Queen Stella Okoro. Thank you so much. I see the authenticity in your comments and your feedback. Thank you for sharing. I'd like to take Jessica, please.
Thank you so much to the host and to the esteemed judges of this panel. When I first saw the debates, when I first saw the post, I was like, at first, I didn't even think twice, like, who could be which party, which of these genders really is leading. I know just by my experience, I was like, is this even supposed to be a debate? This shouldn't be a debate. It's not something we should debate about. And then I just registered for the motion. And surprisingly also, I registered for the motion based on my personal experiences over time and my conviction. Then during my research, right, I was even more impressed that, not only was I personally convinced, but research also proves that we are right and that we are on the right track. So this has been a very enlightening experience for me. And I really appreciate my team because, like she said, it was quite chaotic, but along the line, we all caught up and we are able to do this. So I really want to commend my team and truly appreciate the panel and the host for putting this up together. I love debates, so I will always look forward to more debates in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. So we've had two feedback from the same team. So we'll take two feedback from the other team very quickly. Comfort, please. And then I will nominate Femi. Comfort.
Thank you so much, sir. I was actually going to say Mr. Femi. So I just want to take the time to appreciate the convener of this debate. It's actually bringing some of us out of our comfort zone when it comes to speaking. I also want to really appreciate all my team members, Mr. Ibuka, Mr. Femi, Miss Blessing, Mr. Pius, and Mr. Timmy. As at yesterday, one of us, Mr. Timmy, was still on the road around, was still on his way back home around 2:10, but he still joined. I could see the dedication. I could see the commitment to making this, to making, this work, even in that short notice. If you recall, the idea to group the speakers was actually from one of our team members. So, and you know how it is when you're bringing in a new group, trying to brainstorm and all that. So, I just want to say thank you to the convener, the panelists, our opposition, and most especially my team members. I really, really appreciate you, the camaraderie, and all your contributions. You people have made me a tad bit better person from our conversation, even outside the debate. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you very kindly, Comfort. We'll take the last comment from Femi Omoshe. Femi, you have the floor. Femi looks frozen from my screen. Zalum, you want to say something?
Okay, yes, please. So I want to say thank you to everyone, to my team members. They have been very awesome, very patient, very tolerant, and very, very knowledgeable group of ladies that I got to work with. So I was part of the speech contest, so it's nice again to be here in the debate contest and taking all the learnings from the judges from the previous contest and applying it here during this contest. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. It's really helping me build my public speaking skills, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. Femi, if you are back now, please speak. Femi. It's like Femi's network is not very friendly. Meanwhile, I'm still waiting for two of my judges. Please help me pray that God will fast track and hasten the thoughts and articulation of the judges. Femi, if you can unmute, you can go ahead. I suspect you have network issues. All right. Blessing Oluwaluse, please go ahead with your comments. Blessings, your hands are up. Please go ahead with your comments. Blessing, you need to unmute.
Okay, good evening. And I just want to say a very big thank you. This debate has actually taught me a lot, and I just want to say, like, my colleagues, my teammates, they were very awesome, like everybody on the team, and it really taught me again the power of teamwork and collaboration. Every day, like since last week, we've been having meetings upon meetings every day, like not a single day that we didn't have meeting. And again, one of my team member, even he had an exam today, but then he didn't even stop him since like 10 p.m. yesterday. We were still on the call, and my man, I was like, everybody was like, go and write your exam, go and prepare for your exam. But it just taught me the power of teamwork, also the confidence. Like many of us may not be like great public speakers, or most people are always camera shy. But then for me, I'm not camera shy. But then I saw the most important thing, that people were able to actually come out of that chair. And also I learned so much from the debates, we had to do research. So the learning skills and the research. So I just want to say a very big thank you to everyone, and the convener, Dr. Liemi, and also everyone in HR Mentorship for this opportunity. Then also to my team. So I'll still go back to my team. They were all amazing men, and also the lady comfort. So thank you so much, and thank you for having us. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much. Femi, final boarding announcement. Femi Omoshe, final boarding announcement. Please share your thoughts.
Oh, sir. Thank you, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear, even though it's
Good
shaking.
evening, sir.
I think Femi has network issues.
Okay, so thank you, sir. Okay, so I want to
All right, Femi.
thank you, sir.
I think there are network challenges. Femi, I see your efforts and I recognize
For
it.
the opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Femi. I think we'll have to step this down. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll wrap up now, and it's my privilege and honor to share the awards. And when I say awards, we are going to have two categories of awards, individual awards, and then we'll also have team awards. But before we go to the awards, please permit me, you may not necessarily like this, but permit me to mention my friend, my brother, my colleague, and also my leader. His name is Yemi Fashio. He reached out to me this morning, reached out to us this morning, and he said, Oluyemi, I like this competition and I like what you guys are doing, all of us now, what we are doing. I won't mention the amount, but it dropped a good amount. He said, Oluyemi, this amount is too small for this tech. All right. So, but don't worry. In the group of the part contestants, I will let you know. But anywhere you see Yemi Fashio, tell him that I said I agree that he's taller than me, based on this amount that he has dropped. That the debate is finally settled.
We need to do a tape rule measurement.
No. With due respect, my friend and brother, Victor Adebayo, you know you've always been taller than me. Height is not 6'7". Height is a currency. So please, if you see Yemi Fashion anywhere in the world, please just say thank you. He's a great man, always has been very supportive. I think the first 10 webinars we did in HR mentorship is one of the
I think Doctor is back. We
yes,
lost you for some seconds.
All right. I just said we should thank, appreciate, and celebrate Yemi Fashion. And of course, recognizing that there are many people who are always contributing every time. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a few announcements with respect to awards. Now, for the award of the best debater, we have a tie. We have a tie. So two people are going to jointly win the award in no particular order. The best debater goes to Deborah. The first best debater goes to Deborah. And the co-winner of the best debater award goes to Zalum Onyechi. So our joint best debaters, Zalum Onyechi, and then Deborah. Thank you so much. Now, for the best rebuttal, so we have an award for the best individual rebuttal. And in this case, there's just one winner, unanimous consensus. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your virtual hands and physical hands together for Stella Queen. Stella Queen, best rebuttal. Thank you so much, Queen Stella Okore. You are outstanding. You really showed what rebuttal is. Nobody can rebut that fact. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a feeling we all know the winning team. Do I need to mention it? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to mention the winning team right now. And the winning team for the inaugural edition of HR Mentorship Debate is the team supporting the motion, Women Are Better HR Leaders Than Men. And members of this team include, in no particular order, Zalum Onyechi, Etieka Deborah Ele, Bisola Babalola, Jeremiah Friday Jessica, Stella Gona Okore, and Mbufe Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to appreciate the other team. Thank you. You gave it a good fight. We'll meet again some other time. Ladies and gentlemen, my name remains Oluyemi Adeosun. Panel of judges include Pamela Elekwachi. Thank you so much. God bless you, my sister. Ezine Obiora. Thank you so much. God bless you, my sister. And Victor Adebayo. Thank you so much, my brother. God bless you. We don't take your presence and availability for granted. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank everybody who joined this live session today. Every single person. I saw some very senior leaders. Thank you for joining. I see a hands up. Adura Agbemi Tirelola. I don't know what you want to say, but I'll give you 30 seconds to say it. The recording of this debate will be on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Oluyemi Adeosun. It's my name, Oluyemi Adeosun. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's unmute and let's thank all. Oh, sorry. Okay, I will give us the permission, the authorization to unmute. Let's just say thank you and good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, panel of judges.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Well done.
Thank you for the conversation.
I think we'll look for another edition. Maybe this time I'll participate.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I wish I
Thank you for
participated.
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Thank you so much. It was so
Thank
satisfying.
you. Congrats to the winners. Thank you so much. It was insightful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations to the supporting team.
Thank you also
Thank
to
you.
Kumbi Adeoti. She was behind the scenes. She is one of our judges. Thank you so much, Kumbi Adeoti. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Oluyemi.
Thank you so much to all the judges. Thank you so much to the host, to the convener. God bless you. We are really grateful for the opportunity to have this
Thank you
insightful
all.
section.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think in the
Please
next
let's have a
debate,
part 2 of this.
Yes, Pamela, we are with you, my
yes,
sister.
in the next debate, I
Yes.
think we need to have ambulances on standby. I think that's why we didn't see a lot of blood. They need to know that it's game on, right? So I think that's what is going to happen in the next edition, and everyone just did a fantastic job. So I'm impressed. Well done, well done.
Thank you,
Hi,
ma. Thank
Ezine.
you,
Let's connect. Let's connect. Let's connect. Let's
Pamela,
connect.
all right, not a problem, not a problem. Thank you.
Okay,
Well
take
done
care.
to
Enjoy
all
your
the
evening.
contestants. Jessica, you were amazing. You should come back and
Yes, I
debate.
will.
Well done.
I
Well done
will.
to everyone.
Ezine, do
Great.
you notice how Zalum came back stronger this time? You will see that she took feedback from the speech contest.
So on my comments, most
Yeah.
improved. She's improved because she really, I mean, she blew me away. That's why I was so happy with with the results, because it was in line with my thinking. I was like, wow, she did
Yeah.
well. Zalum, well done. She took
Zalum,
note
well
of
done, well done.
I was blown
Thank
away
you.
by your position. I was like, is this our Zalum? Wow, wow, wow. So well done.
The structure was like okra soup. It just drew from the beginning till the end. Everything was neat. Well done. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well
Well
done.
All
done.
right. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.